pictures.
Gotta get ready to get in line to ask a question. No, you gotta be ready to get in line to ask them a question. And I'm going live on TikTok right now. Snack on some pizza. Hey, you're blocking my camera view. I'm live on TikTok right now. Hey. I'm live on TikTok right now. I want to try something. Like, spark. I want to see if I can get people, other people to start with their lightsabers.
How long is this? How long is it?
About around the same amount of time as the Halo panel.
I didn't know how long that was.
That was 50 minutes.
I'm longer an hour, yeah. Why? Oh, no, this is what. Very calm. It's all that way. I'm at the mall.
All right. Are you guys excited?
Woo!
We got a star-studded Clone Wars panel. All right, I'm going to bring out your moderator. You know him from AMC's comic book band, Big Chad.
What's up, Planet Comicon? How are you guys doing? I keep making this joke all day. I know it's Friday. I know you guys are ditching work and school to be here. You guys win. You guys are awesome. Who needs school? Who needs work? This is the biggest party on the planet right now. You guys are here, and the force is about to get stronger in here. You guys know and love the Clone Wars, which changed everything for us and me as a huge Star Wars fan, expanded the universe, and it is my honor to introduce some of the cast here in Kansas City. I'm going to bring them out right now, and it is my honor to introduce Ashley Eckstein, Phil Lamar, Matt Lanter, James Taylor. They are the cast of the Formula. Give it up for them. Give it up for them. More, yeah, let me
What's next is our TikToker, James Arnold Taylor.
multi-talented. Please have a seat. Have a seat, my friends.
Oh, wait, I wasn't recording. We got to do it again.
Oh, no, again? Okay, you want to... I can bring that energy again. I can definitely bring that energy again.
I want to say, hello, Masters. It's been a while.
I hate to sound like Chris Farley in Saturday Night Live, but that was awesome.
And I'll say, hello there.
I won't say anything.
You just did.
I'm a rebel.
Thank you guys for being here. Ashley, I just found out something, and I have to ask you right about it. You went on a very grand journey very, very recently. You were on the Galactic Star Cruiser.
Yes.
Can you please? What can you tell us? Can you everything? But we only have an hour. But some highlights maybe, because that is awesome as well.
Well, it was amazing, and I'll tell you everything, but no spoilers. The Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser is unlike anything that exists today, because there is no comparison. And I think people keep trying to compare it to something, but you can't, because it is an immersive vacation experience that is brand new. And so it's literally like 48 hours of live action role play. And you're not just watching Star Wars, you are living Star Wars for 2 full days. And my husband and I had the time of our lives, and I will say the other Star Wars fans that I know that have been on it said it's 2 of the best days of their entire life. So I highly, highly recommend it.
That's a pretty bold statement. But we're all Star Wars fans in here, so I completely believe it. I saw you and Dave got dressed up in robes. And I hear the more you get into it, the more you interact, the more fun it is. So I imagine you guys took advantage of that as well.
We did. I mean, you never really had the chance to truly live Star Wars like that. You're not just like watching it. It's not even just immersive where you feel like you're in it. You're actually living it. And I really, really hope it's the first of many to come. Whatever your fandom is, I hope that they create more of these, that you can live in them. And, some people have said something about, the price of it as well. And I will say this, it's new. It doesn't exist. They have to prove a concept. And there's a lot of young people in here, so you probably don't understand this comparison. But if you're older, like us,
Or me.
sorry, y'all, just called us old.
You're an old man.
She says older, she means James.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw her do that.
But do you all remember when cell phones first came out?
Yes,
And
of
you
course.
couldn't go over your minutes. And I remember my sister, and I'm calling her out right now, her first cell phone bill was an $800 cell phone bill, because she went over her minutes. But that was totally normal back then, because it was this new thing. Well, if they prove for this vacation experience, is successful, they're going to do more of them. And I think the cost will eventually come down. But they're proving it, and if you are so fortunate to experience it, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Awesome. And if you
How was the pilot droid?
How was what?
The pilot.
droid. Is there a pilot droid?
Oh, did he sound like Phil
What did he
Lamar?
sound like? I wonder.
Gee, I wonder.
My mind is just blown. Literally, between the 2 of them on the end of this table, they've done like every voice known to man.
We'll be doing Ashley's and Matt's later at their table.
Phil, you also went on a grand journey. You want to tell us about your trip to Sacramento last week? No, I'm kidding. That's pretty pale in comparison to that. So we do have an audience mic right here. There's a big X right here. If anybody wants to kick it off, please, by all means. Oh, we got one right here.
Yeah, look at that. Right up. Jump shot.
Yeah. You're a brave one. You're amazing. And, you're videoing too. Okay, cool. But fire away you may fire when ready.
Well, it was so nice meeting all of you. I did pictures with 3 of you.
Yes, did it turn out?
Yes, and it looks really, really good.
Oh,
So
good.
thank you. I just wanted to say that I really loved your cameo in Kenobi.
Oh,
You know, that fan film.
thank you.
And Matt, I'm really sad that your character died on The Mandalorian.
Yes,
Every time I say don't die, Anakin.
He had a name, and they don't even credit him with the name. His name, I said Davin, you know, it says like New Republic Soldier. I'm like, hello.
I think we need to make a T-shirt for Davin.
That's a good idea because
Yes.
I just love your clothes. They're really, really cool.
Thank you.
And I would just like to ask all of you, are you going to be in any upcoming Star Wars projects or cameoing in any of them?
Well, that Lego game just came out. I think we were all about
I was going to say, we don't want to listen to this answer. You won't share this on social media.
Yeah, but we can't. We're not going to tell you if we are. We can't.
Okay.
It's a loaded question.
Right?
But if you would like to see us in any cameos,
Yes.
please contact at Star Wars, at Dave Filoni, at John Favreau. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I think Dave's the guy to talk to, right? The head honcho out there. And Davin had a first name, Lance. Lance Davin, I believe, L-A-N-T.
Well, now you got me there. I don't know.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean...
I'm just a day player.
Is there any show you would like to be in?
Sorry.
Any show that you would like to be in that's upcoming?
Well, there's one.
All of them.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Step on up, my friend. Your question.
This is directed for Matt, James, and Ashley. What's it like to voice in 3 of the most iconic Star Wars characters of all time?
Wow, no pressure.
I'll bet.
Well, go ahead. Ladies
Oh.
first.
You know, I think it's truly such a great honor, and I think, we all feel that way. We started making Star Wars: The Clone Wars in 2006, so it's been quite a while, and, I think we all hoped that the show would be very successful, but, to be here in 2022, all of these years later, celebrating the show and celebrating these characters, and the fact that our characters are still going, and it's really a dream come true, and it's an honor that we don't take lightly.
Yeah, for me it was stepping into the role of Anakin, but it was fun and creative, and we kind of got to do a new Anakin with something we hadn't seen. I guess there was a sense of pressure, but in some way a sense of freedom, because we weren't trying to do Anakin from the movies. We were kind of trying to do a new Anakin, a hero that we hadn't seen before. But yeah, the fans and the whole Star Wars family has been so receptive to, I think, all of us and the show and just the new storytelling, and obviously that's so much fun for us. I think, me personally, I probably speak for all these guys too, that the Star Wars fandom really. What do I say?
Stroking there, Sky Guy?
No, I think it's great.
Anyway, I'll move on. I think I speak for these guys. I don't even know what I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anakin, no pressure.
The Star Wars family has been awesome. When you being a part of the Star Wars universe, I feel like we all are family. That's kind of what I was getting at. And to be a part of this whole family has been just awesome.
Yeah. And I would just tack that on and bring in Phil Lamar on that too. From Phil Lamar to Jim Cummings, to Corey Burton, to Tom Kane, to D. Bradley Baker, Nico Futterman, all these fantastic actors that we got to work with on a daily basis, that we also still are family with, that we text each other. We're all still close. We're all a family, and that's because of Star Wars, but it's also because of all of you. But the amazing work that this man does as well is what I can't wait to hear some more about as well, because he blows me away every time I get into a booth with him. So, pretty great.
Thank you. You made Anakin really, really cool, if I may say so.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Your question.
All right. First, Matt, I just want to say I'm glad that you're here and that you look happy and healthy.
Oh, thanks.
Actually, my question is for you. They've kind of talked about what it's been like to sort of step into roles that already existed. And at this point, whenever Star Wars puts out something new, everybody can't wait, whether it's a new character or an old, because we were expecting really quality material. But the character of Ahsoka was kind of one of the first new characters that got introduced to the fandom. What was that like, and how has that experience been to know you sort of kicked off, in a sense, the new era?
Ooh, well, fortunately, we worked on the show for 2 years before it ever came out in theaters in 2008. And so we had the chance to truly fall in love with our characters, and especially Ahsoka. We were always a season ahead. So we were well done with season 1 before you all even got to see the movie. And so I knew how far she had come just in season 1. And when the movie came out, she had a lot of haters. I'll just say that. And it was devastating at first because, like I said, I had already fallen in love with her. And, I had a day where I had a pity party, and I read the reviews, and I drowned myself in cheesecake. And I locked myself in a hotel room and didn't come out for the day, and it was cool.
That sounds like a great day to me.
Really fun. Vengeance sweet, isn't it, Ahsoka?
It was. I was just like sobbing in my cheesecake. But then the next day I was like, no, I'm not going to, succumb to this. I know how great of a character she is, and I'm just going to ask fans for their patience because I know how far she's come just in season 1. So, no character is perfect from the beginning. And if they were, it would be a really boring character. So, I just asked fans to go on the journey with her. And never did I think that this journey, we'd be here in 2022 and now she's getting her own show. And it's just truly surreal. So yeah, I'm grateful for it. It was daunting, but I just have always been honest with fans. I've listened and been honest and just begged for support and patience and thank you. I mean, thank you for sticking with us and thank you for sticking with this character. And I think she turned out okay, right?
I think it's good. And I love it. I mean, you've been immersed in Disney your whole life. And is it true your dad's stole the turkey legs, or he introduced the turkey legs to Disney World?
He did. I don't have any sort of royal title. I'm obsessed with the royals, but one self-proclaimed royal title that I will take is Princess Turkey Leg. Because my dad was a part of the team that brought the turkey legs into Disney World. So he did the first deal for Disney and made the turkey legs possible. So I always thank you for asking the question. I will give him
I got to thank your dad for that. Those turkey legs are really good. They're really, really good. I like to eat. And, in the happiest place on earth. Absolutely.
Thank you. I will tell him.
Thank you. Hello, your question.
Hey, what's up? It's nice to meet y'all, James, Matt, Ashley, Phil, especially Phil. You're one of my favorite voice actors of all time. Like you, D. Bradley Baker, Cree Summer, Charlie Adler. I think they're like the legends of like voice acting. I grew up on just Cartoon Network television. Like I have no life, so
Amen.
But mainly, so I'm an actor up and coming in Kansas City, and like my question kind of is like, I feel like I'm just discovering like that key moment of like when you can separate what's star quality from like what is just meh, and like what was that moment for you guys? Like maybe that audition, that moment, then like just practicing at home, or just like even like that role, like you see it back on television, you're like, I did a really good job. Like kind of, what was that moment? That moment.
The turning. Well, that's interesting because there's two moments I can think of to reference what you might be talking about there. I mean, there was my first performance, 8th grade. My school was doing a production of The Phantom Tollbooth, which is a book that I loved. I wasn't interested in that. I auditioned because I loved the book. And there's one little character, and towards the end of the book, that the census taker, I want to play that.
But then I got cast as one of the leads. And I opened the show doing a 2-minute monologue alone on stage under the spotlight. And that was, oh wow. That was a transformative moment. That just being out there and feeling the energy of an audience and having it not make me want to wet my pants, it made me feel 70 feet tall. Sure. I'm like, I like this. So I basically spent the last 40 years trying to find that moment.
And here it is.
Yes, please. I want to hear all about it. Yeah. Well, yeah, for something a little different, I guess you were talking about like when's the moment where you kind of like, oh, like I'm a level above.
I'm thinking voice-based window.
I mean, my approach is I don't really ever think that, and I think maybe that's good, maybe, because you want to improve every time, and you want to keep learning, and I think maybe to keep going, keep learning, keep aspiring to be better is what makes you better. So I don't really know that there's a moment, because honestly, I'll still listen to my stuff, and I'm like, why'd they hire me? I would not have cast me in half the things I've been in, but I'm blessed that I was. But, I think that to keep wanting to be better is kind of what my mindset is.
And I'll say, again, to piggyback on that, but a little something different, just know that you're going into a business of failure. You are going to fail more than you are going to succeed. And that's okay. That you need to know that. And so instead of that failure shutting you down, try to face that failure and, say, well, okay, why didn't I get that part? What can I learn from it? How can I improve next time? Ahsoka was actually my first big voiceover job. What a lot of people don't realize is I was a live action actress. I mostly did film and television, but I really wanted to get into voiceover, and it did not come easy. I auditioned for about 4 years, probably about 400 auditions that I did not get before I got Ahsoka. And I mean, of course I wanted to give up. Of course I was discouraged. But had I given up, I wouldn't have gotten this role that completely changed my life. And so just do not give up. Just know you're going to fail more than you're going to succeed. But that success, when you get it, it just feels so good, and it could change your life. So keep going.
And shout out to That's So Raven, live action. Ashley, pretty awesome.
Alana said that she likes Star Wars.
James, do you have an aha?
No, I was also to tack on what Ashley said. Ashley, what did you come in to read for originally in Clone Wars? Was it?
It was actually Padme.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the other point, is you may be going in for one thing and you end up with something else. So just know you got to be yourself. You got to put out what you have in there and the characters that you have. With voice acting, you have no inhibitions, so you got to be able to make funny faces and do weird noises and all that. And you just don't know what it's going to lead to. So just put all of it out there and enjoy it. Every time I'm on a microphone, I say a prayer of thanks because it's the greatest job in the world. So just enjoy every moment of it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. For questions.
First off, thank you for the pieces of my life and entertainment that you have provided. That you've inspired me, all four of you, Clone Wars and Justice League, respectfully. And my question is, so recently news came out that Hayden Christensen has binged the Clone Wars to prepare for Kenobi. And I'm waiting for the news that Ewan has done the same. But I was wondering, have there been any conversations ever where Anakin has talked to Anakin? So Matt, that's a question for Matt.
Yeah, I did. I met Hayden in Chicago a few years back, and just super nice. We just had a great conversation. He had seen some of the show at that point. He just said that, what the Clone Wars has done for the saga as a whole and kind of that connective tissue, he really appreciated that. And I saw that same article. That's great. I love it. I think there's a wealth of knowledge for the character. That there's a lot of character development. So that's awesome that he watched it. And it's cool. I can't wait to see it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, Hayden Christensen's a smart man. Does his best. Come on up. Your question.
Hi. So, you guys do amazing work, and like you breathe life into these characters. And it's amazing because I've made some of my closest friends bonding over like watching your characters go on adventures and things. And something that I was curious about is what were some of your favorite story arcs throughout the Clone Wars to work on, and why?
Well, for me, it's the Duchess Satine, Anna Graves. And you know, most of the time we got these scripts the day of. So we would walk in the room and get them. And there's a certain thing, spoiler alert, in season 5, that happens with Obi-Wan and Satine and Maul. And I didn't have the script until we walked in, and so I didn't know what was going to happen until I read the words. So those moments make for great moments in your life and dramatic moments in your life too. So all of those storylines are pretty good. But the Mortis arc, I've talked to a lot of you today about the Mortis arc. You guys remember we were doing those? And Obi-Wan was always like, Anakin, what are we doing? What is going on here? He didn't know anything.
We laughed about that. Obi-Wan was so aloof, had no idea where he was, like, what was going on.
Where's my sandwich?
Master, what are you talking about?
So I liked those ones too.
I like the Mortis arc too because it was very different from stuff we had previously seen, and Anakin got to really discover that, that inner turmoil and the possibility of being the chosen one, and what did that mean? And so for me, that stood out. It was super, just dealt with the mythos of the Force. I just thought it was cool. Yeah, it always stands out in my head.
I like the Mortis arc as well, but since they answered that, I will say that getting to come back together for the final season of Clone Wars, did you all like it?
I think they liked it.
I think everyone knows now, the Clone Wars was canceled, and we didn't know that, at the time. So it was devastating because we were in the middle of doing, we were about to start season 7.
I mean, it was just really moving forward. It was doing really good.
It was so sad, and so I'm a very positive person, but had you asked me if Clone Wars was ever going to come back, I would have said no. Because I think we were all kind of protecting our hearts a little bit of we don't want to get our hopes up for something that we held so near and dear. And so the fact that we got to come back for season 7 and we knew that it was our final season, we knew that we were, we cherished those moments in the studio, and we signed each other's scripts, and we cried, and we took photos, and so those were some really special memories.
And then they confiscated the scripts and said, you can't
burn them.
Do you remember the moment we did this scene with Anakin and Padme are talking, and Rex is there, and Obi-Wan, and we got it, and Dave goes, "Now we already got it, it's great, but let's just do it a few more times. I just like watching you guys play."
Thanks, man. Dave Filoni, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you. Step on up. Your question, my friend.
Hi, I have a question about the last episode, and it's awesome that it mainly features Rex and Ahsoka because they're two of the most iconic characters in the Clone Wars. But do you have an opinion about, do you wish maybe Obi-Wan or Anakin had a scene in there, or it ended differently, or any other scenes that were extra? Yeah.
Well, it's hard because we know where the story goes.
I would have liked to see Anakin become a Jedi Master. Just a small deviation from, the murder. You can't always get what you want.
It's also weird because we did that after Rebels had already come out and things had been, so it was really this kind of, great Scott, Marty, we're on a time continuum. Oh, wait a second, Doc, Anakin is Darth Vader? Oh, sorry. But, so you had to kind of balance all of that, so it was confusing. complex. But I wish that like Plo Koon would survive. I still am holding out that Plo Koon's still got out, right? And Kit Fisto too.
We know, yeah.
Look, if Darth Maul can get cut in half and come back,
Right.
Kit Fisto has their own show.
Well, Sam Jackson is convinced that Mace Windu survived the fall out the window.
I just assume there's a Bacta tank for everything, right? Yeah, come on. Those things are pretty miraculous. So I hope for the same thing too. I love those characters. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Come on up. Your question.
My question was kind of already answered, but
ask it again.
You guys coming in to fill or play the role that was already played before. Was there anything that you were like super intimidated with, or like when you were trying to find like the voice? Or
Yeah, 2 words: Ewan McGregor.
I was intimidated by Ashley, if you want to tell that story. She laid down the law when I got cast. I was a recast, by the way. I don't know if you know that. But there was another Anakin before me who recorded some episodes.
Matt Lucas.
Oh, well, okay, so the backstory is, we had been working on the show for 6 months prior to Matt Lanter joining the cast, and Dave Filoni had drilled in my head. He was like, people are going to want Anakin and Ahsoka to get together, but it's never going to happen because they're more like brother and sister. So,
Star Wars. I think Padme would have something to say about that also.
Exactly. So, but Matt's first day on the job, I don't even super remember it well, but did I even introduce myself first?
Yeah, it was super early. It was, hi, I'm Matt. Anakin and Ahsoka are not lovers. They're like brother and sister.
Just so you know, there's nothing going on.
Yeah, that was and I was like, okay.
What else?
Well,
we really do have relationships like our characters.
Complicated. No, there's always a certain level of challenge to taking on a role that someone else. I remember I started out doing voicing Bail Organa for Clone Wars, and you've got somebody. I had much less to do than you did, but you're coming in to filling the shoes of somebody else, somebody who did it 40 feet high on a big screen. So you have to honor what's come before, but more than that, you have to honor the character. I always think about it in terms of theater. Like, hundreds of people have played Hamlet. Nobody goes, I'm going to go find a recording of Laurence Olivier and copy that. No, you play your version of the role, but you honor what's come before, because that person, helped, created the character, and especially your voice
Green Lantern.
Yeah, well, like with Obi-Wan, I always say now, when I started doing
still being made. The 2001 micro series of the Clone Wars, I was open.
So I was matching Ewan McGregor. So everything had to match what Ewan McGregor said. And now, if you listen to Obi-Wan on the Clone Wars, he doesn't really sound like Ewan McGregor. He sounds like Obi-Wan Kenobi right in here, which is a little bit of, you don't need to see their identification. You were the chosen one. You combine them and you get James as Obi-Wan. So, yeah. Which is, Alec Guinness doing Ewan McGregor doing Obi-Wan Kenobi doing, no.
It's a team effort.
Well, and I'll tell you a fun fact that some people know, but you might not. So Ahsoka, Dave originally wanted Ahsoka to have an Icelandic accent. And so in the audition, I was asked to do an Icelandic accent, and I butchered it. Like, it was so bad.
And Ming has that recording right now.
Cue it up. It was just literally like so bad. Somehow I got a call back. And so they said, can you please have her practice her Icelandic accent? So I went to this dialect coach and I mastered Icelandic. But he taught me like pure Icelandic, which pretty much sounds Irish. Dave Filoni didn't say that he wanted someone to sound like Bjork. So had he just said, have her go study Bjork, I would have done that. So I go into the audition and I say my first line in Icelandic, and he stops me and he's like, "No, I'm sorry. Can you do something that sounds a bit more Icelandic?" And I did something that I would normally never do. I spoke back to the director and I raised my hand and I was like, "I'm sorry, but I am doing Icelandic. I don't know what you want." That got me the part. Because I managed to be snippy but not bratty and that's what they wanted for Ahsoka. And so I was dumbfounded when I got the part, and I was like, how did I get this? I butchered my Icelandic accent. And they said, "Oh, no, we don't want her to do that. Like, just have her, we cast her to be herself. Just have her come in and do your own voice and bring your own personality to the character." So unlike how they had big shoes to fill, I lucked out. Like, I literally just got to be myself. Like, Dave would be like, "Well, Ashley, how would you say that line? How would you do that?" And so literally Ahsoka, in many ways, is my own heart and soul because I was asked to bring myself to the character. So I feel very fortunate that I had an easy job. I don't know about them.
That's cool. The girl who was crying into her cheesecake.
But you were yourself and it worked out. I mean, that's kind of a cool lesson. So
yeah,
amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you. Step on up to the mic.
It was pineapple upside down cheesecake, if anyone was curious.
I'm gonna record this so I can send it to my dad. I just want to say thank you to all of you because the Star Wars: The Clone Wars movie was actually the first Star Wars movie that I saw in theaters. I didn't get to see Revenge of the Sith, but I did buzz my hair for the DVD copy. But I want to know your personal feelings and thoughts of seeing that on the big screen for the first time, that first movie in the StarArs universe with you voicing these characters.
We all look at each other.
Well, I mean, I just want to echo something that you just said, because at first I was a little bent about it, because, we've been recording the episodes, and I'm, doing much less work than these guys are doing, so I'm less invested. But I'm like, wait, you can't just cut up 4 episodes of a show and make it into a movie with, it's like taking parts of a car and just gluing them together and saying, "Oh, it's gonna run."
Context.
But I didn't really understand the value of it until I went to the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood with my son, who was probably about your age, and the look on his face, or just the feeling of it, because there's this whole generation that their experience of Star Wars, like, "Here, son, watch this from my childhood." And this was his Star Wars on a big screen for the first. It's like, this is not yours, this is mine. And the work that Dave Filoni and those guys did in creating that world was amazing. I'm like, oh, okay, George wins again.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say, so sitting there in the theater watching it, sitting behind me was J.J. Abrams with his 2 sons. And afterwards, we get up and, like, "Hello there," and boy, I'm a big fan of Lost. No. And his sons were like, "Oh, what?" I'm like, "What'd you think? This is so great." I'm like, "Do you like Obi-Wan Kenobi?" And they said, "Where's Anakin?" But it was the same thing because they were young and it was like it just struck them in such a neat way. So it's wonderful to hear how many people were taken up into Star Wars from this world that you have to create.
And I do have one request. Matt, can you say "I don't like sand"?
I think what you would be looking for is, "I hate sand."
So, thank you very much. Coming up, your question.
Hi, I just want to say you guys are awesome. Love the show. I got a question mainly for Ashley. If you think Ahsoka could see Anakin one last time, like after his turn, but he's not Vader, what do you think she would say to him?
Okay, Ashley, the Star Wars writer, go.
Well, she does say, "I'm no Jedi." So she does say that. I've asked Dave this question several times, and to Phil's point, I am not the Star Wars writer. But I do think Ahsoka always lives with the kind of guilt of what if, what if she had been able to have one last conversation? What if she hadn't have walked away? What if she had been there? Could she have stopped him? So I don't necessarily know what she would have said, but I think she lives with a lot of questions.
But, to get really, deep into Star Wars here, and serious for a second, it's the same with Obi-Wan. And look where that went. It didn't, they all tried. This is an intervention from Matt right now, but... No, but it's true. It's like, what do you say?
I hate you!
Well, I don't like you right now either. Nanny boo-boo. High ground.
Oh.
Thank you very much. Hello, your question.
Hi. Hi. Okay, so this is mostly to Phil and James. So you guys play my two favorite Jedi of all time, obviously Kit Fisto and Plo Koon. Yes. And so I was just wondering, how was it like to actually making a personality to these Jedi that we've only seen a minuscule second in the actual movies?
James is his name, right?
Well, it was weird because the character of Kit Fisto had been established on screen without speaking. Had an entire life of battling, dying, and now you get to create the character.
What?
Oh, and he's got a Caribbean accent. Go. But it was, a dream come true. To play a Jedi and to work with these people and on the show is okay. And what they gave us to work with, were these characters which in the movies were just people in makeup or costumes or whatever. But all of a sudden in this show, they had relationships, personalities. Kit Fisto was this smiling, energetic Jedi. And I'm like, oh, wow, yes, that's something to play. So it actually was easier than it was, had the characters been more established because you had more to work with.
And with Plo Koon, so, that's Dave Filoni's favorite character, Plo Koon, so there was no pressure there, but he said one word, he said Gandalf. I want him to be very Ian McKellen. I have to do my Dave Filoni because every time we worked with Dave Filoni and he did anything about George, he would do his George Lucas. So it's only fair that now we do our Dave Filoni impressions. Okay? Yes. But so he said Gandalf, and so
Plo Koon is treated. So whenever Matt Wood, the sound designer, goes in and he does Plo Koon's voice for me, he takes it and he bridges it down, and then it's put through a mask, and it's Koto Yarn Ahsoka.
And it becomes that.
But when it starts, it's right here. And so, the beginning,
The first stuff I ever did with Matt and Ashley was actually Plo Koon. It wasn't Obi-Wan. Because he's in those first, Rising Malevolence and all that.
So I was doing all of this, and I was doing just Ian McKellen, it was lovely, it was wonderful.
And so we do the first season, and then I watch it. And because I'm kind of a tape recorder, kind of guy in my head,
they pitched him down to here. So we went into the studio to do the next season, and I started doing him down here.
And Matt Wood's like, you're killing me, dude. Keep pitching him down. Yeah, but as Phil said, it's just a tremendous honor, but it's tricky to come up with personalities, but I'm just honored that I got the chance to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come on up with your question.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This is a question for everyone. Since you guys were recording and the show was, before Disney bought it, is there anything from Legends that was canon when you did the show that you wish was canon now?
Ooh.
I wish the Kenobi book was part of canon, because I really liked that book. I know that's not really necessarily part of your question. I don't know. There's a lot. Well, Clone Wars, the micro-series, is not canon.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot of fun on that. So, yeah. You guys? Nothing? May, what do you got, May?
Star Wars is perfect.
Okay.
Well, they're watching, so. Everyone's watching.
Where's watching? I will say, I got to start her universe back, prior to Disney, and we got to play with some of those characters. So we've done, I think, 2 Mara Jade shirts that some people still have them, and we'll never be able to make those shirts again. And so the fact that we got to play with some characters that we could no longer play with was really cool. And a little plug, her universe is actually on the floor right next to my autograph table. So we're very excited to come and check it out. We have some styles that you can, get here at the convention. Yes, here, Mom. Quantity is limited, so definitely come and check it out. There's some really cool styles, and but yeah, I would say Mara Jade. She was a cool character to design for.
I think her universe is canon, though, isn't it?
I think it is, yes.
Well, that is a planet in the Star Wars solar system. It's a little purple planet. Yeah.
But is it true that when you guys get bought up by Disney, they're going to call it her multiverse?
That'd be pretty cool.
Go visit it, buy everything. That way you don't have to take it all back. So.
Oh, yes.
But it's going to fly. It looks awesome.
Oh, yeah. Well, this, I think, did we have, Jen, Nicole, I don't know if we have any of these left, but I have a really cool Ahsoka ring that literally, there's like no more on the website. And once this is gone, it's gone. It's really
I have one.
Oh, the power of the rings! Yes!
Spiritual powers activate!
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Come on up, your question.
Keeping it short, keeping it simple, from left to right. Favorite member of the Bad Batch and favorite clone outside of the Bad Batch.
Ooh.
Left to right. Left to right.
Okay, I feel terrible. Why am I blanking on all the Bad Batch's names?
D. Bradley Baker.
Yeah, D. Bradley Baker.
I like Heavy, right? Heavy. I haven't seen that much of the Bad Batch, honestly, but Heavy.
I will say I really bonded with Omega, actually, because I really sympathized with Omega being a new character. And then it felt very much like Ahsoka in Clone Wars.
It's pretty similar.
Yeah, so I was like, ooh, I'm really rooting for Omega.
Sleepy? Oh, sorry, cross the fandom street. No, it's interesting. I love Bad Batch. To me, it's literally a dream come true. Because I remember there was that episode of Clone Wars where Dee played, 9 different clones in a, huge dramatic situation. I'm like, he's doing the same voice and making it feel like 9 different people.
Yeah.
And then a decade later, they finally said, yeah, let's give that guy a series. I mean, that's what I loved most about it. So I'm sorry, I can't pick any one because, like James said, my favorite is D.
Yeah.
And just the fact that,
We all.
oh my God, it's all one person! I can't stop doing it.
I know we're voiceover nerds, so we do watch our friends on TV and geek out. And so it's like when this was on, I was just geeking out that Dee was getting to do all this because one of the nicest, most talented people in this industry and most humble guys and the biggest Star Wars fan on the planet too.
Yes.
So he's just so deserving of any and all credit. So
yeah.
Wait, can I go off on a small tangent?
Go for it. Go for it.
A story that I don't think I was allowed to tell for a very long time, but now I think I can. Because it speaks to Dee's level of talent and his Star Wars fandom. Early on, when Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau were developing The Mandalorian, they had some stuff they wanted to do to try to sell the concept. Because Jon was using his Jungle Book and Lion King stuff to create, but on a live action series. And so they wanted to animate some stuff to show the Disney people what they were doing. So I flew up to the Bay Area and voiced The Mandalorian for the first 3 episodes.
Whoa.
And Dee came in as well. And does anybody remember the, what's the little pig aliens?
Piglet. Oh dear.
Well, there's a character in Mandalorian that Nick Nolte voiced. Right. Now, they brought Dee in to voice that character because originally he was going to speak in his native language and they were just going to use subtitles. A native language that did not exist. So Dee comes in and creates this pig alien language. Like they just give him the script of the lines. And then there's a scene where that character goes and speaks to a bunch of Jawas. So he's speaking Jawa in his pig alien accent. And of course, Dee knew Jawa. And I'm sitting there in the room, and my eyes are bugging out of my head because I'm seeing someone create a world in front of a microphone with his voice. But then I'd be like, oh well, he's already done 9 characters at once, so this is a Wednesday for him.
A Wednesday.
Right.
Yes. You know Shin Queen is Dee Bradley Baker. If you don't know that.
This is now a Dee Bradley Baker
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
And love Dee Bradley
Come back
Baker.
6 for the Clone Wars panel.
Sorry, Tam.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Got time for one more. Make it a great one, my friend. It's all you.
Annie.
No, don't give me too much pressure. I'm gonna go to the dark side.
Join
That's
me.
what you have to call me Annie so many times. Anakin. Okay. So.
Go for it.
Man, I have so much pressure. Please don't leave me.
No pressure. No pressure.
So, and I just lost it. Tell Dee Bradley Baker he missed out. We're so grateful for y'all coming out. So I really miss him. Tell him to come back. So my question is, someone already asked about the favorite episodes. I said, well, maybe this will be a great ending. What is your favorite quote or last minute thoughts about your character? Like, do you have a favorite quote? What's the most memorable thing about your character? Favorite piece? Just anything favorite about your character?
I love how Ahsoka has kind of transcended the screen, and she kind of lives in all of us now. Ahsoka Tano was meant to be the eyes of the audience. So you were meant to experience the Clone Wars through Ahsoka's eyes. And so we learned all of these lessons with her. We learned lessons of hope and trust and betrayal and heartbreak. We learned all of this through her. And so, when Ahsoka came back on Star Wars Rebels, I started a hashtag that was like, Ahsoka lives, because literally she just lived. But then now, after season 7 and all of these years, I updated the hashtag to be Ahsoka lives in all of us, because I do feel like she lives in our hearts and in our souls, and we carry her with us throughout our day as we make decisions, and she guides us. And so I think she represents hope, she represents light, and she represents all that's good. And I love how she's just now being carried on by all of us.
I think for Anakin, I'm going to be super serious here for a second, but I think for me, this speaks to me because I'm a person of faith. And I think watching Anakin's journey, everything that happened, everything he did, there's always redemption. And that's something that speaks to me, that no matter what I do or whatever, there's always redemption. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome. Favorite quote. Actually,
Or favorite part about your character?
Well, I mean, for Kit Fisto, I just love the fact that he's seen. I mean, because a lot of the Jedi, other than Obi-Wan and Anakin, were just sort of in the background. But I love that even though Kit Fisto was sort of in the background, he had a presence. I mean, like there's one quote in particular: "Those who have power should restrain themselves from using it." And that speaks to the character has these principles, has this core, even though the show's not about his principles, but it's still there. He's filling out the world, around these other characters. That's what I like.
Two-part, one silly, one not. The fact that I got to, it was in Rebels, but the fact that I got to give the message that Obi-Wan gave that we never got to hear, I thought was really pretty cool about the message. This is a message for any remaining Jedi. Trust in the Force. That was really an honor to get to do that. And then my favorite one from Clone Wars would be, right, no, Anakin, she's not my girlfriend.
Awesome. Thank you. Great question.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for being here. I know you guys know we can visit her universe, visit their